Welcome to Worth Your Time with your hosts from the nationally syndicated Bob and Tom Show, Kristi Lee, and the president and CEO of the Indianapolis Zoo, Dr. Rob Shumaker. Our mission to inform, entertain, and educate with guests from all aspects of life. We guarantee there isn't another podcast that features two hosts with such different backgrounds and discussions with remarkable people doing exceptional things. So let's get started. Here are your hosts, Kristi Lee and Dr. Rob Shumaker.
Welcome back to Worth Your Time. Kristi Lee and
Rob Shumaker.
Yes, Dr. Rob and I are really excited about episode 2 of our conversation with Mwezi.
Mwezi is just the greatest guy. His passion is infectious. Just such a pleasure to talk to him.
If you missed episode 1, please go back and listen because anyone who can sit and watch for a cat they've never seen all of in 15 years out in the wild, to me, I still can't get over that. His passion and his perseverance and his pledge to help these animals that are on the vulnerable list, it's just so infectious. As is his smile that we've talked about.
Oh, he's the greatest guy.
And he's married to a dentist.
Yep, his wife is a dentist. And you're going to hear a little bit more about her in this episode coming up. What we did want is for her name's Hazel. We wanted her to be part of it. And she came in and she was ready and got nervous.
Oh, did she?
And ultimately, we were getting ready to start, and I said, "Well, Hazel, you're going to be okay to talk about this?" And she looked at Mwezi, and I thought they started to talk, and then I said, "Oh, this is not for me to get involved in. This is a husband-wife conversation." And ultimately, they looked at me, and I said, "Hazel, are you uncomfortable doing this?" She said, "I'm too nervous. I can't do it."
Which I need to probably interject. I was not available to be at the taping. Yes, sadly. So I am learning just as much as you, the listener, right now. But it's a very interesting thing that they are doing in Uganda and around Africa to save the African golden cat.
Oh, and the thing that's so great is Mwezi is out in front doing incredible work, but Hazel is an incredible part of the project and unbelievably supportive. And even though you don't hear from her, she is an incredibly influential person in all of this, doing great work as well on the human side, which is absolutely essential for any successful conservation.
Sure.
You got to take care of the people so that the people will take care of the animals. As simple as that.
Talk about how they're helping their communities take care of the people in this particular episode, along with Mwezi and his African golden cat project.
All right, let's go. Let's hear it. Let's hear from Mwezi. In our first episode, and by the way, I would encourage everyone, if they did not listen to the first episode, please do that, because these will really work sequentially for you. You talked about your career as a conservationist in Uganda, and you are fiercely devoted to African golden cats, an absolutely spectacular cat that some people call a small cat, but we have to listen to your advice and say, not so small.
Yeah, they are not.
Doesn't really fit as a small cat. Is there a red list designation? If you're not familiar with the red list, it's the assessment of different species in the wild and their conservation status. Mm-hmm. Is there an assessment of golden cats on the red list?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So there was one that was done in 2014, 2015 by my good colleagues from Panthera, Laila, Phil Henschel, David Mills. They did really good work on having that assessment for 2015, 2014. And we are actually finalizing the assessment for 2024. Because they're done every after 10 years. Mm-hmm. So we started this project last year, and we are wrapping it up now. I was appointed and selected by the IUCN Cat Specialist Group to lead on that process. So I'm at the stage of compiling the report and submitting it back to the IUCN Red List team. And yes, it's vulnerable. It's been classified. It's classified as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. Yeah, so you would say it's threatened. It's on the threatened list of species on the IUCN Red List.
And again, an excellent bit of work to arrive at that conclusion. But I think what I took from you in our earlier conversation is there's still so much information that's lacking.
Yeah.
That maybe, is that a tentative assessment, or do you feel firm about that?
I think based on the data we have, I think that sounds reasonable and appropriate classification. Good. But one of the interesting things I would like to share with you is that for the work we are doing now, we are seeing, a relatively larger geographical spread or range of the species.
And you mentioned 21 countries
21
across
countries.
Africa. Yeah.
But we have to take that information with a pinch of salt, because yes, many of what we are seeing as an expansion is also because of the intensive search and work we've been doing since 2015, 2014 to allow us understand better the species and where it's present and where it's potentially extinct.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of sniffing on the ground for detections, for locations, for sightings, for reports of the African golden cat, which in itself is very good because it has improved our understanding, or at least one of the things we have learned a lot about the species. I think it's the range, the extent of its range. I don't think we can refute that now. I think we have really solid information to believe that all the sightings and reports we have been gathering over the years, they're accurate. Right. There are some places that we're still in doubt. Most likely, the good example would be Burundi. Burundi, we have historical records of the species there, but haven't had any recent evidence of the species there. But in all the other countries I've mentioned, we are confident that species is present because we have recent sightings and reports from these areas. But if you look at that range, that tropical equatorial rainforest of Africa, these are areas where hunting, most especially for bushmeat, is wildly unsustainable and super destructive. There's lots of bushmeat hunting for various reasons.
So can you explain that phrase bushmeat for people that may not be familiar?
So bushmeat, it's basically a wildlife that's hunted from the bush, or from the wild, that is consumed as food or as consumed as meat. So it's basically wild animal meat.
And it's people pretty much hunting anything.
And it's, exactly. And people are hunting basically anything that they can catch in this forest. The communities we work with, again, depending on where you are, they're hunting mostly bush pigs and forest antelopes. Yeah. But the methods they use to hunt also catch other wildlife species. They catch reptiles, they catch birds, they catch the African golden cat as well as bycatch.
So this is not the kind of typical hunting people might think of where you use a gun or bow and arrow. So can you explain the process and how this impacts golden cats so directly?
Yeah, absolutely. So the hunting in itself, take you back a little bit, the hunting itself is one of the reasons as to why I mentioned that we should take the current classification with a pinch of salt. So you're seeing a nice spread and a nice, quite large geographical range, but this range is infested with unsustainable widespread hunting. So the range could be wide, but whatever is happening within that is potentially driving the species to near extinction. So, and that's why we still retain the classification of vulnerable, because we want to look at numbers, we want to look at the threats the species is facing. But coming back to your question about the hunting, so Africa is really broad, and the cultural values and the system and the structures of these communities are also different. In some parts of Africa, some communities hunt with guns. Some are still using, pitfall traps. Some are still using nets. Some are still using snare traps. So some are using I'm getting so excited. Some are using all methods combined, right? So it's very hard for me to answer that question. What means this community is using to hunt, because it's the first community by community.
Yeah.
I would speak more in the context of Uganda, where I've done much of my work.
Your community in Bwindi.
Yeah, my community in Bwindi. So in Uganda, firstly, owning a rifle is illegal. So no one runs around with guns. And even the very few who do, they need special permissions and licenses from the government. So if you're not in law enforcement, you're not allowed to own a gun. So hunting with gun is not an option to the people in the communities where we work. The other available alternative would be using nets. But the hunters I've been working with and talking with, they tell me that nets, although very sustainable because they don't kill, they just trap. And then you can always free what you don't need and take what you need. So using nets would be another alternative. But they don't like using nets because they say they're not as efficient, which is a complete different story, which I don't want to get into right now. The other option is snare traps. So snare traps are interesting because they don't pay $1 for them. They can easily make them from available home materials. And they're super efficient because they catch anything that steps in them. This could be chimpanzees, this could be gorillas, this could be elephants, could be reptiles, could be African golden cats. So anything that steps in the snare traps, it's caught. And many of these, especially small-bodied animal species, they normally perish. They often perish in the snares because that's how nasty they are. And this is the most widespread hunting tool that these little communities use for hunting.
And so the intention, as you mentioned, is not necessarily to catch golden cats, but because it's indiscriminate, they get caught in the snare traps.
Absolutely.
And is this frequent?
Again, depending on which part of the range you are. For Bwindi, yes. Because again, we believe Bwindi is one of those strongholds for the species. So we believe that there's quite a decent population of the species in Bwindi, given the protection and attention the national park gets because of the mountain gorillas. So the hunters in Bwindi, yes, in 2019 we did a survey just to understand how many of these cats are caught in the snare traps, and we estimated 80 cats were caught in 1 year. 71 of these were caught unintentionally, again, because snares are indiscriminate, non-selective, and they catch anything. So 71 African golden cats were caught unintentionally, and the hunters never had any interest in them. Only 9 of those cats that were caught in that year, hunters reported to have had an interest in them for skin and for medicinal reasons. So it seems for the African golden cats, at least in the Ugandan context, they are largely caught unintentionally. But the story is different when you move next door to the Democratic Republic of Congo, or even go to Central Africa and further West Africa, where I've come to learn, thanks to my colleagues of the AGCCA, we have come to learn that communities there hunt African golden cats for food as well, plus body parts and skin and all these other potential uses of the species.
So as you said earlier, if a golden cat is intentionally or unintentionally caught in a snare, it's 100% fatality.
Oh, yeah.
And so where your work has been remarkable is you have partnered with local communities and convinced them not to hunt in this way. So can you go back to that original moment when you showed a local person a photo and said, "What is this?"
Yeah, going back to 2010, and I'm running around in the villages with this black and white picture of an animal, asking people what the animal was. And I was referred to hunters. They say, like, if you talk to some of the hunters in the communities, they'll tell you what this animal is. And they didn't disappoint. The moment I brought the picture out, they said like, this is Mbaka, which is the local word or name for the African golden cat in the Ruchiga language, which is the language that is widely spoken around Bwindi in Penutibo National Park. So the hunters, in a bragging tone, they mentioned, we catch these guys all the time. We catch the Mbaka all the time in our traps. So which showed that probably, this was happening frequently in their traps. If they say we catch this all the time, that sort of language suggested that they potentially catch the African golden cat quite a lot in their traps. And for me, at that point, that's when I realized that, we don't know so much about the species in the wild. And the hunters are here telling us they catch the species all the time in their traps. That was the time I decided to not only to start collecting and generating information to help us understand the biology of the species, but also put in place interventions that communities will be involved in and they will design to address some of the key drivers of why they were participating in hunting in the first place.
And what are those?
This was basically food, the need for food and the need for money. So they hunt mostly because they need to bring food to table. But also some of the surplus of what they hunt is sold within the community to get money for school fees, to get money for their day-to-day lives. So after learning the species and them telling me to get the species all the time in our snares, my next step was, okay, so can we actually start working together? You can take the lead and you advise us on what we could do to make you stop hunting the way you're hunting, because this hunting is really destructive. As you have just told me yourself, when you go hunting, you're not even looking for the African golden cat, you're looking for bush pigs and forest antelope. So clearly not interested in this species, but now we know, both of us, we understand that the way you're hunting these animals is non-sustainable. So would you be kind to take a lead and advise us how we could work with you to come up with interventions, design programs that will discourage you from hunting, but at the same time, you being able to join, our conservation efforts to conserve and protect the African golden cat. So we had that conversation. That took roughly 5 or so 6 years to just get all that system going and get ideas and local communities on board to start talking about, what would be the next step in this conservation journey, so to speak. So we got the communities together and we started designing different initiatives. I don't know if they want me to get into those right now.
What are the big ones? Tell us the big ones.
So the bottom line of these initiatives or interventions, they're basically programs that aim to improve the way of life of local communities around these areas where the African golden cat is present. And someone may ask, why would you want to focus only on livelihoods? And the simple answer is, it's the lack of livelihoods that leads these hunters into the forests to hunt. So I would like to make it clear at this point that the hunters we are working with, or the communities we're working with, these are not what you would call poachers that go out there and kill elephants for their ivory, or kill rhinos for their horn, or kill pangolins for their scales. No, because those groups, those are organized crime syndicates and cartels, filthy rich but greedy. The communities and the hunters you're talking about in this conversation, these are some of the poorest people in the country, and they only go out hunting to feed themselves and to feed their families. So I think we have to draw that distinction straight away. So these communities, the reasons as to why they're going out to hunt is because they're hungry. They need to eat. That's the reason they go out there. So it was quite straightforward for us even to come up with alternatives, because those were alternatives that would address hunger. So one of the programs in this case, we call it the Livestock for Bushmeat program, or L4B in short, is basically a program that we started with the local communities, incorporating some of the local indigenous knowledge they already had within the communities to design smallholder livestock farms with the communities just in their backyards. And the way this program works is that we designed it as a seed bank. We call them livestock seed banks. And ideally, we donate a female reproductive animal to a hunting family on two conditions. The first condition is stop hunting. The second condition, that you'll help your neighbor to start a smallholder livestock farm as well. And when the neighbor also gets offsprings, they'll do the same. And then they'll do the same. And then at the end of the day, this conservation benefit cascades all across the communities.
And you're talking about animals like pigs or goats or, yeah.
Yes. And the livestock, different varieties, depending on what the families prefer. Some families have preferred goats, some families have preferred pigs, some families have preferred rabbits as well, some families have preferred poultry. So we basically want to be able to bring an alternative that is well appreciated and accepted by that specific household. So it's very hard to assume that a community of 1,000 people will all prefer having or rearing pigs, given that there is a lot of cultural complexity, religions as well. It would be, what's the word? So for Muslims, for instance, we would not give them a pig as an alternative to bushmeat hunting. They will not, because by virtue of their religion, their Islam faith, they are not allowed, to connect or interact with pigs. So we're very, very, very careful and aware that, if you need something to succeed, to be successful, you have to go for an alternative that the families and the households are comfortable with.
Right.
And that's why it's a long list of different livestock.
And I wonder if I can ask you about one of the initiatives that I'm aware of that, first of all, has about the best name you could possibly imagine, but I know is personally very important to you, and it's a program called Smiles for Conservation.
Yes.
Can you talk about that now? But here's the first question. Who actually thought of this, Smiles for Conservation? Because I know you work with a partner on this.
Yeah. So, Smiles for Conservation is one of the 4 programs livelihood improving programs that we brought to the communities to inspire that local support for conservation, but also as an incentive to the local communities to support the conservation of the African golden cat. So there is a long story behind Smile for Conservation, and thank you. We love the name Smile for Conservation because it actually has 2 meanings. Yes, you should smile for conservation because conservation is such a cool thing, because you're protecting nature and you offering your being to protect things around you. But also on the other hand, it's also the smile because you have good teeth, you have a good smile, a beautiful smile. So that's how Smile for Conservation came about. So it's led by my wife Hazel.
Hazel Oringo Simila.
Hazel Oringo Simila, yes. So we should add Mugera at the end there because we've been married for since 2022. We've known each other since 2019, but we got married in 2022. And I think we should add, just saying. But anyways, so I met Hazel and...
You're all distracted talking about your wife.
And I always get distracted talking about her. I totally always get distracted. Yeah, so where are we again?
we were talking about your wife starting this program.
Oh, thank you.
And we should say it's Dr. Hazel because she's a dentist.
Yes, Dr. Hazel. Yeah, so we met in 2019, and Hazel, I think she's my biggest fan for the work for the work I do. So we met and we talking about the work I do, And we knew there was a gap in the communities. By the time I met Hazel, I had spent lots of time in local communities. So I had identified a few things, talking to the communities, like how we could strengthen this community-led program with them. And one of the things that came about really a lot in our regular meetings with the communities was the need for basic health care. And that also included dental health care. Because in this village where I was based around ITFC in Bwindi, there was no dentist that was assigned to the whole community. And not only this community, but also other communities around Bwindi National Park. So I already knew that there was a gap within the community, and I just didn't know how I could fill that gap. And they kept asking for it. They kept like, if you could get us, people to come and help us with our teeth. We don't have a dentist here, but we have all these problems. So I was having a conversation with Hazel, and this is something people are demanding for. And I think if we deliver this service to them, we could package it with a conservation message so that when we deliver the service, we communicate to the communities that you're getting this service because you pledged to support the conservation of the African golden cat, right? And having a forest in your backyard. So you're only seeing this dentist because you have the forest, in your backyard. But I didn't know how to deliver dental services, obviously. So when I talked to Hazel about it, I think I can help with that. And Hazel being also a lecturer at the university made things even way easier because it meant she could bring her colleagues, Hazel could bring also her students to be part of this program. So it's like, you bring your students, they get an opportunity to intern and get to learn their skills on the patients. So which in one way, Hazel as an educator, that was a plus. But also the students at their early young age, they would also be able to learn that they can apply their skills, though not conservationists, dentists, they could potentially use their skill sets as dentists to contribute to a global cause. And then for me, it was an opportunity as a conservationist that I would use that opportunity to plant the seed of conservation in these students. So there were three very big advantages for us to start this program. But at that point, there was so many things I didn't know, and I don't think I had even the opportunity to learn. So I just thought, my wife is a dentist. Like, why should I try to, learn the drugs and the equipment and everything that I need to treat a person? So I just basically sent that bit of conservation work to Hazel to deal with. And she has done a wonderful job.
So what is it like if you personalize that experience? I could imagine that some person there who is suffering with some terrible dental problem. And I think anybody that's ever had a dental problem knows how painful that can be.
Oh, yeah.
And all consuming. You can barely function.
I know.
So what is it like when that person comes with who knows how long they've been suffering with a problem, and that is relieved right there as part of your project? What is that like for you and for that person?
Well, let's start with how we actually deliver this program, because I think it's super cool how we do this. So we organize and deliver this service in mobile dental clinics. And as the name goes, mobile, we hope from one village or community to the other. So Hazel deals with putting together the whole list of equipment we need, dental chairs and all the other complex equipment and drugs we need. We put them in the truck of the car with Hazel students and a few colleagues, and then off we go to these villages living around these national parks. So we get into the village, we pitch a tent or a camp, maybe for 4 or 5 days, mobilizing and calling people to come and get this service. So the service we do is really very basic. We would like to offer more, but also it's quite expensive, running these sort of programs. Yet we know they are really beneficial as a conservation tool. But anyway, so we keep our services really basic: extractions, oral health education, conservation education. So we keep it really simple. For the ones we feel they really need the extraction, yes, we offer the treatment, we offer the extraction. And for those we feel, they just need maybe to be educated how to brush their teeth, how to take care of their teeth, then we do that. So we do that for one community for 3, 4, 5 days, then we move to another community. And coming to your question, the benefits are massive. We've been able to, we have seen people 70, 73, 74 years old coming up into our clinics. And it's their first time seeing a dentist. And they're like, I've been grappling with this pain for months. And here I am today. I've been able to see dentist for the first time in my life because I have Bwindi Impenetrable National Park in my backyard. And the connection is instant. The connection is instant. They associate the relief they have just received with the African golden cat or the forest immediately, because otherwise there would be no business for Hazel and her team to be there if there were no African golden cats. So this service coming to you because you pledged to be part of this movement to conserve one of Africa's one of Africa's most threatened wildcat, but also you also pledged to support the initiatives we put in place for the African golden cat. So the benefits to everyone, they're really instant. The communities are happy, so we make many friends for the African golden cat because people connect the African golden cat to the relief they get once their very painful teeth are extracted. But even as for us, we use the opportunity to plant that seed in the young dentists who are still training in university, that they can contribute to conservation even after they graduate from their dental programs.
Mwezi, where can people learn more about your organization that you've named in honor of the African golden cat?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned this because actually the organization itself was named after the local name for the African golden cat. It's Mbaka. And our website is mbaka.org. So it's very short, embak.org. And K-A. embaka.org.
Perfect. Mbaka.org.
And once you get on that website, you will directly find links to our emails, so you can always write us an email. We are very, very quick at responding to emails. But also we have like a short form, which if you don't want to just write us outside the website, you also have like a small section where you could just write to us. We received that on our email, but also there are leads to our social media channels where you can get a lot of more information about the work we do, but also you could just direct connect with us and then we can have a conversation about conserving the African golden cat with local communities.
So do you understand that you're a conservation hero?
No, I didn't until recently when I was honored with such a prestigious Indianapolis Prize for Emerging Conservationist Award. Yeah, I'm beginning to feel that I'm a hero. I'm really beginning to feel that way.
Well, that's good because a lot of other people feel it.
Oh, thank you.
And you're making incredible difference in the world and a genuine difference for African golden cats. And what a privilege and what a pleasure to have had such a great conversation with you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for having us. We have had really a wonderful 10 days here in Indianapolis. Yeah, we are very grateful for the warmth from everyone who received us, and they've made us feel so much at home and made us feel so special. We are forever grateful. Thank you.
Mwezi Badru Mugera, thank you. absolutely worth our time. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Good job, guys.
Good job, Hazel. You were able to avoid us completely.
I could sit here and listen to him speak all day. What a wonderful man. And congratulations again to Mwezi, the 2025 Indianapolis Prize Emerging Conservation winner, and doing such great things with the African golden cat in Uganda. And you have some big news that came out after we spoke with Mwezi.
I do. And by the way, I just have to agree with you. He is such a deserving recipient of the Emerging Conservationist Award. The perfect example of the people we are hoping to highlight. And you're right. Remarkably, after talking to him, recording this podcast, a great article that came out on the Manga Bay website. And if you're not familiar, if you're into conservation, you probably know about the Manga Bay website. But if you don't, find it. It has great, optimistic, encouraging, positive news stories about conservation successes. It doesn't. It talks about sobering things too.
Right.
But Manga Bay, Mongabay, check it out. It's a great website. An article in December 2025, small cat conservationists hail Uganda's new Ichuya Forest National Park. Essentially, because of Mwezi and others, there is a new national park in Uganda that was just announced that will benefit lots of species, especially African golden cats.
Right.
This is the kind of work that, what can you say? It's heroic. It's changing history, changing the face of conservation, and it's wonderful men like Mwezi who are getting this done. Women too. So pleased for him, so proud for him. It's absolutely fantastic.
You called him a hero in the,
He is a hero.
In the second episode.
Did I?
Yeah, and it was great because you could tell I could see the smile. You know how when you're listening to people talk?
Oh, yeah.
You could hear his smile. It was wonderful. And you're right.
He deserves it.
He does. I'm so glad that we got to meet him and speak with him and learn more about a species that very, very few people have ever seen in the wild.
I'm fairly confident there are none in the United States in any zoos, and there are a very small number in maybe rehab centers or sanctuaries or so on in Uganda. I think they are almost unknown, but man, they're a gorgeous, gorgeous animal. You were going to mention his website.
Yes, if you want to learn more about Mwezi, it's mbaka.org. That's EMBAKA.org. And find out more about our little hero in conservation.
It's a fantastic one. Man, I just can't get enough of that guy. Yeah. And he's just doing terrific work.
Yes. And so where can people find us if they want to learn more?
Thankfully, we are available on all of the normal streaming services, all the places you want to download. But you can also listen to our podcast on YouTube. That's more recent for us to be on YouTube, but you can download them there, listen to them there, and always can find great video clips on TikTok and Instagram of our guests. So like us,
subscribe,
follow us,
tell your
do
friends.
all that stuff. We sure appreciate it.
2 years, buddy.
Is it 2 years?
We've been doing this 2 years.
Already 2 years?
Yeah.
Man, time flies.
Yeah, it does.
That's great. You know, I was thinking about that. We do have some listeners already in Uganda.
Oh.
And people who download. So I'm guessing we're going to get quite a few more after this one.
I can't wait till they go back into the catalog and listen to Sam Miller.
Oh, that's very funny.
Oh, we do have a couple more months before it's 2 years officially.
Almost.
But we're almost there.
That sounds like an official invitation of Sam Miller to come back.
Oh, he'll come back. I know.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Yeah, we love Sam Miller. But we invite you to check out all of our catalog if you'd like. Go back in there.
Absolutely, go back.
We carry a lot of followers and we cover a lot of topics. That's why we're worth your time.
That's it. We're worth your time, and we cover just about anything. I like to say it's like podcast whiplash.
That's great. I like that.
You never know what you're going to get, but it's worth it.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristi.
You've been listening to Worth Your Time with Dr. Rob Shumaker and Kristi Lee. If you like what you hear, please give a review wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best compliment. Thanks to our producers, Chris Spangle of Leaders and Legends, LLC. You can reach him at leadersandlegends.net. Also, thanks to Sophie Ritz. I'm Christopher Geisen. Thanks for joining us.